Hey guys, welcome to Lesson 3B, Covalent Bonding. Today we're going to talk about different properties of covalent bonding, and we're going to demonstrate basically how to model covalent bonding using Lewis dot diagrams. So what is a covalent bond? A covalent bond only occurs between two nonmetals that basically share their electrons. All right, so the key thing here is that they're sharing their electrons. A covalent bond can be single, and that just means that it holds 2 electrons. If it's double, it holds 4 electrons, and then if it is a triple bond, it holds 6 electrons. So this is just an atomic picture of what covalent bond looks like, and you can look over here and these electrons are sharing their electrons with each other. So a good example of that is chlorine. All right, chlorine 2, it forms in a covalent bond with itself. It should be written like this. It's kind of messed up in this picture right over here. All right, so how will chlorine, two chlorine atoms basically react with one another? And you can see that this one chlorine on the left side, it has 7 valence electrons around it, and the one on the right side also has 7 valence electrons around it. So each chlorine atom wants to basically gain 1 electron in order to achieve an octet. And if you remember, an octet is 8 total electrons. So what's going to happen? If you look at this image, the chlorine atoms are getting closer and closer together until eventually each one has an octet. So you can see now the right one has an octet. It has 8 electrons around it. And now the left one also has an octet. There's 8 electrons around it. So both of these chlorine atoms now have an octet, and if you look in the middle, they are sharing a pair of electrons. So the octet is achieved by each atom sharing the electron pair in the middle. All right, the octet is achieved. Also, you can see that that's where they're sharing their electrons. And then that bond is a single bond because if you count, there's only 2 electrons there that they're sharing. So we call that a single bond. Alright, so now there should be a single bond between these 2 chlorine atoms. And what we do is we change the electrons and we make it a dash. Alright, so these are just the steps of drawing a covalent bond. First step is you want to make sure that there are only nonmetals. The second step is to draw the valence electrons from both nonmetals around each element. Step 3, identify the lone pairs that they will basically need to make a full octet. And then step 4 is basically rewrite and draw the bonds. Alright, so this chlorine atom, since it's only sharing 2 electrons there, over here it's going to make a single bond over there. Alright, what about O2? So this is oxygen. Alright, so steps for drawing covalent bonds for oxygen. Again, the same thing, make sure that they're only nonmetals. Step 2, draw the valence electrons for both nonmetals. Oxygen has 6 valence electrons around it. And then you want to identify the lone electrons that will need to be paired. So you can see that these 2 are going to pair with each other. And then the lonely ones at the bottom, they're going to pair with each other. And now you can see that this picture of oxygen is sharing a total number of 4 electrons. So that's why we have something called a double bond now. So you can see that we indicate 2 dashes for a double bond because they are sharing 4 electrons instead of the single bond that only shares 2. Right? Nitrogen is also a very good example. In nitrogen, you want to, again, make sure it's only nonmetals. Alright, nitrogen is a nonmetal paired with another nonmetal. Draw the valence electrons for both nonmetals. Nitrogen has 5 valence electrons around each of it. And then identify the lone electrons. And in this case, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 electrons that are sharing with each other. So we just call them, there are different 3 electrons that are sharing. And that will form, we call it a triple bond between these 2 nitrogen atoms. Alright. So overall, I hope that video was helpful in order to understand the properties of covalent bonds and to show you how to draw covalent bonds using Lewis dot diagrams. So if you still need some help, come see me and we can work on some problems together. Thank you.